Hi everyone, Michelle Zadisek here. Hope you're having a great day. Today I want to talk about tipping. I kind of have, it seems like things have changed over the years with tipping, and I'm 50 years old, so um, I grew up in the 80s, and I even worked as a sort of as a waitress. I worked. Those of you old enough to remember Sizzler, I think they do still exist, like in Florida, but Sizzler used to be a chain throughout the country, and it was more of like it was kind of like a Ponderosa, if you're familiar with Ponderosa. um, Maybe today you might. I don't know what you'd compare it to. I don't want to say Golden Corral. I mean, it's the first that comes with it, but it's not. Sizzler had a salad bar, and it was you could get all you could eat salad bar, but they didn't have like all you could eat buffet, right? It was just a salad bar that was all you could eat. But there was a lot of steaks and chicken and that sort of thing. But you walked in, you ordered your food, you got a tray, and then you went to your table. If you were ordering something that needed to be cooked, then that's where the wait staff came in to play because they would take care of your table. Excuse me. So so I did sometimes work as a waitress there, but most of the time I worked behind the counter, work in the cash register. So anyway, all of that to say, tipping was much different back then than it is now, and there was a reason for it. So one might say that, oh, maybe you need to get with the times because I don't really like to see the direction that tipping is going in. But I will also say that I sometimes drive for DoorDash and Uber Eats, and that's a whole nother issue with tipping. Same with Uber and Lyft drivers, which I have done that before too. So when let's tackle like restaurants first. Like I sometimes when I go into Panera, and I go up to the register and someone actually takes my order, and I'm under the assumption that that person is making an hourly wage, like minimum wage, okay? And so when I get that thing on the screen when I use my card, ask me if I want a tip, I always say no, because in it's always been my understanding that wait staff, they make less, they make much less than minimum wage, but that's because they make up for it in tips. And that's the people I want to tip. And I tip them well, when I'm at a restaurant. But when I go up to a counter and you're taking my order, why am I tipping you? To me, that doesn't make any sense. And again, maybe it's just because I'm old school. People might call me old school. I don't know. But that's my thoughts and my reasoning. I think we've kind of gone a little haywire with the tipping. Um, Now, when it comes to DoorDash and Uber Eats, what you have to understand is those drivers, that's how they make money is by tips. And what I'm really annoyed at is I've been trying to do a little bit of door dashing lately. And I actually enjoy door dashing. Let's just say several years ago I was doing Uber and Lyft. I liked it, but honestly I don't like driving people around. Most of the time people are nice, but sometimes you just get those people. They're snooty, they're lighting up, they're vaping in my car. You didn't ask me if it's my car. You're not driving. It's not Uber doesn't own that car. That's my car. You need to ask me if you can vape in my car, you know? And the answer would be no. So, but I mean, I think tipping should be, the Uber when you're a passenger, in Uber or Lyft, excuse me, I don't necessarily care about the tipping as much. I think it's nice. I think especially if you're, someone who has the money and you're using Uber and Lyft frequently, yeah, you should tip, you know. Um, but I don't think it's necessary. But then I would have passengers who would tip like $1. Like, just keep your dollar. Are you trying? Are you trying to send me a message with that? Do you think? You think you're getting through to me by giving me a dollar tip? Maybe that's all they can afford. Okay, I might get, but at that point, I would say just keep it. Don't tip me a dollar. If you're not gonna be a serious tipper, then don't bother. Okay. Um, and then like the one thing that happened, and I know this happens. You could ask Uber and Lyft drivers today, and they'll tell you the same thing. Passengers will say, "Oh, I'll tip you on the app." 9 times out of 10, that doesn't happen. So, I never hung my hat on that, like, "Okay," that would be my response, like, "Okay, you're gonna tip me on the app." I'll just sit here holding my breath waiting for that. But anyway, so now when I do DoorDash, and I mostly do DoorDash. I think I have to go through some training videos to get back on Uber Eats, which I'm not sure I'm gonna do. Um, but when I first started DoorDash, I'd just go out for a couple hours at night, and it was a great way to get out of the house and even earn a little bit of money. And I'd make like 50 to 60 bucks in the matter of 2 hours, which is not bad. Excuse me, and it's all local. So you're not going far. I don't even think I would put 50 miles on my car when I first started doing it. Okay. Well, what happens is, like if let's say you place a DoorDash order and you don't tip, okay, that means when it comes through on my screen, I'm only getting a portion. So when you order from DoorDash, you're paying a DoorDash fee, and you see that fee, and then you're paying for your food, okay? And then you can add a tip. You don't have to, okay? But all I'm getting is a portion of that fee. So let's say that fee that DoorDash is charging you is $3.99. I don't know how much I'm getting of that, okay? But so sometimes when I get an order that comes through and the person has a tip, it's like $2 that I'm getting. And yet you want me to drive 5 miles to deliver that $2 to get paid $2, for that order. Okay. First of all, I'm not accepting it even if I have to walk next door. That's just not worth my time, okay? Um, and it used to be, when I could just decline an order, no big deal. Well, now DoorDash is trying to get drivers to take those orders, okay? So they're doing things like hiding tips. So it might come through as a $2 order, but there's really a $5 tip on the other end of that. Now that annoys me because what if there isn't? So I'm supposed to take a gamble that I might make more on that $2 order, and for what? You know, this is honestly, I would say what DoorDash is doing is unethical because I'm an independent contractor. I'm not their employee. They need to give me all the facts of the order and let me make the decision on whether I'm going to take it or not. And don't penalize me because I choose not to take it. That's my choice. Okay. It's the same thing like even with DoorDash, you can do shopping orders. Most people probably know that. Like Walgreens. Like I don't do those. To me, they're not worth the money. Because you're usually making less than 10 bucks and you're going in there spending maybe 10, sometimes 10 to 15 minutes trying to find everyththing on their list. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because then you gotta stand in line and pay for it with they give you what's called a red card. You pay for it with that, and then you got to get in your car and you got to drive it to the person. It's not worth it. It's not worth the money that I'm going to make off of it because I'm not making any money off of it. I'm losing money. Okay. Because you got to think about your time and you got to think about your gas, especially right now with how expensive gas prices are. So I don't want to take shopping orders. And that is my right as an independent contractor to say, no, I'm not taking that order and I shouldn't be penalized for that. So, um, so now when I try to go DoorDash, I barely make any money because I'm not taking those lowball orders. Even if I don't know if there's something on the other end of that, and I shouldn't be required to take that gamble. Okay. I know I'm ranting. Okay. I know I'm ranting. But this is, if you are someone who uses DoorDash, I hope that this has been educational for you. If you can't afford to pay DoorDash fees, pay the DoorDash fee, pay for your food, and tip well. Don't just tip a buck. Okay. You got to be able to tip well. Then you shouldn't be ordering DoorDash. I mean, that's just the reality. Okay. I haven't ordered from DoorDash in a long time. When I do it, there are times when I go through it and I look at how much it is and I say, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not paying $30 for one meal. I mean, you know, it's not worth it. I'll find something to eat at home or I'll go out and go get it myself, Um, it is expensive. I get it. So I get that's why a lot of people won't tip, okay, because they're trying to save money. Well, then don't do it because the person who pays for that is then the driver because they're getting shortchanged. And the drivers who actually take those $2 orders, I don't understand, but they probably do it because they know. So what it does is it ups your acceptance rate. And if you have your acceptance rate at a certain level, then you'll start getting the larger orders, which I'm not doing. I'm not playing that game. Like I said, I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to gamble that, they're gonna give me better orders or they're hiding tips for me, so I take this order. They shouldn't play games like that. Give me all the facts and I'll make the decision. Okay. So anyway, that's my beef. So I mean, like I said, tipping has kind of gotten out of hand these days. And I would love to hear other people's thoughts on this, especially when it comes to like, tipping at Panera when you're using the self-ordering stations or you're actually going through a person. Like, these people should be making at least minimum wage, and most likely they're making more than that right now because these places are so desperate for employees. Why would I tip them? It's the waiters and waitresses who are making less than minimum wage because they're getting the tips. I don't disagree with them making less than minimum wage because they can make a lot of money in tips. If you've never been a server, yeah, I mean, you can make a lot of money in tips depending on where you're working and how much you're working. And what hours you're working, you can make a lot of money on tips. Okay. So anyway, those are my thoughts on tipping. So I'd love your feedback, what your thoughts are on tipping, whether it's a place like Panera or tipping your Uber and Lyft driver or tipping a DoorDash driver. I get that ordering from DoorDash and Uber Eats is expensive. It is because you got to pay their fee on top of paying the food and then thinking about tipping. It is like I said, times my orders when I try to order just for myself, it can come to $30 alone, and I'll cancel it. Like, I just can't see spending $30 on a meal for myself. Okay. So anyway, would love your thoughts. And I hope you're having a great Saturday and a great weekend. And we'll talk again soon.